She's the 2010 and 2011 year-end WTA #1 player. She was #1 for 71 weeks. She won the 2018 Australian Open, and she is one of the most popular players in any era of tennis. I'd like to welcome in Caroline Wozniacki. Welcome, Caroline.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Well, I want to start talking about your career and what a career it was. You came from a sporting family. Your dad and your brother were into football. Your mom was into volleyball. So why tennis for you?
It all started with, I think, me having way too much energy as a child. So my parents wanted me out of the house and wanted me to burn off some steam. So they signed me up for any sport possible. It was gymnastics, tennis, football, swimming, kind of everything that you can imagine. And I was pretty decent at most sports, but I found tennis the most fun. And I think that was the sport I was the best at. So probably the reason why I stuck out with that. When I was 10, I had to choose between tennis and swimming. But swimming I'm not a morning person, and you had to be in the water by 6 a.m. So it was an easy choice for me.
It's interesting, you know, I've talked to a lot of the European players, and they did a multiple of sports, like 3, 4, 5 different sports, and versus Americans who don't do as many variety of sports. So it's interesting that you guys, I think you become better athletes. Do you agree with that?
I think so. I think you get a lot of hand-eye coordination. You develop different muscles. You learn different things. I think when you do a team sport, you learn different sets of skills than you do an individual sport. But I think it can cross over, and you can use that to your advantage. So I think definitely it's helpful, and I think I'm very happy that it took me a while to just play tennis, because I enjoyed doing other stuff. I enjoyed being with my friends. I enjoyed, just being outside and having fun.
Yeah, because tennis is an individual sport, so it's a little bit more difficult. Talk a little bit about your junior career. I mean, it was very successful. You won Junior Wimbledon in 2006, but talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I had a pretty successful junior career. I think already from the start, I started playing in my small country of Denmark, and that's kind of where it all started. I won the nationals under 12s when I was 10, 6-0, 6-0 all my matches. So I knew that I had done something right, and I think at age 14, I was 14, I won the nationals, so for women.
Wow.
I knew that I was doing something right, and already from a young age I started playing 18s ITFs, and I really enjoyed being out there and really competing against the best players in my age group, but also a few years older. And that I knew what I needed to work on, and I was in the finals of Australian Open. I lost to Pavlyuchenkova in 3 sets.
Right.
And then I played a lot of doubles back then as well. I actually played finals of the French Open with Aga Radwanska.
Right. I read that.
French. But I think it was a great way to just really play against the best player in your age group and improve my game and see what I needed to improve on to be as good or better than my peers. And I think it also helped me then when I saw Aga moving up to the pros earlier than me, and I saw her have success, or Azarenka, or some of these girls. But then I knew that I could do it too. And it was great too that we had that competitiveness. We had Tibulkova, I think we had 13 girls in the top 100 within a couple of years. So I think that really made the jump a little less scary.
Yeah, I mean, it translated into pro tennis, you guys, seamlessly, pretty easily. I'm just looking at your results here. You turned pro in 2005, and you had really your breakthrough year in 2008 when your ranking went from 64 to 12 in the world. But 2009, you broke into the top 5 and you were runner up at the US Open. I mean, when was the number one when were you starting to realize that could be a reality for you?
You know, to be honest with you, I had no idea I really had a chance of reaching number one that year that I became number one in 2010.
Yeah.
And I was playing the US Open, and I remember going further and further in the tournament, and all of a sudden I get asked in press, and they're like, well, if you win the tournament, you could be number one. And then I think that's halfway through the tournament, I go, wait, this is actually an opportunity. This could actually happen. And I think that's from the US Open on. I was like, wow, if I play well in the Asian swing, maybe this could happen for me. And I did. And I beat Zvonareva in the finals, I remember, in Beijing, and then became number one after Beijing.
Right. Well, in 2010, and then you won 6 titles also, and you won more matches than anyone. And then 2011, similar year, six titles, and you were playing a lot of tournaments, and you were known for superb counter-punching, defense skills, fitness, you name it. You were superb. But even though you were all of these things, the inevitable question was, yes, but she hasn't won a major. How did that make you feel?
I think it's everyone's dream when they start playing tennis, I think, to be number one in the world and be the best at what you do, but also win a Grand Slam. And I think for me, I was just thrilled, for a very long time, getting to number one in the world at the age of 20. And really, that's a childhood dream come true. And I think it was really exciting and also a little bit depressing at the same time. And I'll tell you why, because I remember winning my quarterfinals against Petra Kvitova. And after winning that match in Beijing, I knew that I was going to be number one starting Monday. But they had this big presentation for me and everything was great. Flowers on court, champagne, my dad was there. It was really wonderful. But the next morning I woke up and my dad calls me and he goes, yeah, so meet you downstairs in a few minutes and let's get ready for practice because you have a match tonight. And I go, yeah, sure, great. And I'm thinking here, number one in the world, my dream as a little girl was being number one in the world. When you reach that, you don't really have to worry about footwork or anything else. That's, as a girl, that you don't really think about anything. And so I get on the practice court and my dad goes, move your feet, faster racket speed, get up to the ball, move around. I'm like, hold on, so nothing really changed? I'm number one in the world, but nothing really changed, it's still the same thing. And I think that's when it hit me that it's all about the journey. It's about getting there. It's about those hours you've put in for so many years, those experiences, the ups and the downs, that's what matters. And of course, reaching your ultimate dream is absolutely incredible, but you really have to enjoy the journey.
You did it for 2 years straight. You were number one, year-end number one. And currently, a lot of the players are number one in the world, and then 3 months later, there's somebody else number one in the world, and 3 months later, no one really has been able to carry that momentum, recently. What was your secret in 2 years in a row, just playing excellent tennis?
I think mentally I've always been strong and I've been able to tune a lot of things out, and I'm a really hard worker. And I think for me, it was all about giving it 100% every single day on the practice court. And if I did that, I knew that when I went out on a match court, everything would fall into place. And if someone beat me, it was because they were better than me that day, and that's okay. You just have to go back and work harder. And I think that took a lot of the pressure off of me. And of course, going into press, every week, and they go, oh, you haven't won a slam, you haven't won a slam. That started getting tiring after a while. But I just learned to tune it out and really just try it and enjoy the moment. And I enjoy pressure. I think I play best under pressure, and I think I bring my A game when it really counts. And so I think it was something that I really just really enjoyed. I enjoyed being in that position.
After that, 2012 to 2017, you maintained consistency, top 10, top 20. But in 2018, you had that fairy tale finish that you have richly deserved over all these years, and you won the Australian Open. And we were all so thrilled. I know you were thrilled in your family, but let me tell you, we spectators as well as fans and press, we were so excited for you. How was that moment?
I mean, that was such an incredible moment. I think, getting to number one and reaching things so quickly in your career, you really appreciate it. But when it goes away for a long time and you have to, what feels like, work double as hard to get back to that moment, and putting myself in a position again where I was in the Grand Slam finals and had the opportunity, I was extremely nervous going into the finals, but I was also extremely calm and confident at the same time, because I knew I'd done everything possible to put myself in the best position. And I went out there, gave it everything I had, and it was my time in Australia, and it felt absolutely incredible. I was excited, I was relieved, I was ecstatic. I think it was everything at once. And just having, both David there and my dad was there, it was just really, really a special moment. And I think I really appreciated getting back to number one and having the Grand Slam at the same time, much more the second time around, because I'd been through the ups and the downs in between.
Did you think at that point anything about closure, like you've done it all, and were you starting to think about retirement at that point?
Yeah, I think, in your head you always go through all these scenarios, and you always think, oh, maybe I'm starting to get a little older, or I'm tired, or whatever it may be. But I think in my head I would never feel like I was ready to retire until I had my Grand Slam. I think that was kind of the last thing on my resume that I felt like I needed, and I felt like I deserved to give myself the best chance to get one. And yeah, I don't think I would have retired without really going all in for that slam. Yeah.
Well, it was great to see your game evolve over the years, especially I think the second half of your career. You are known obviously for your defense and for the mentality. You're such a great competitor and fit for sure. But all of a sudden, something happened and you had more pop on your serve. I felt like you were guarding the baseline, stepping in a little bit closer. You were coming to the net more. And you were a different player. You were really tweaking and becoming a lot more aggressive. Was this a conscious effort?
Definitely. I think everyone has the base that they feel comfortable with and how they grew up playing. But I think to be the best, or to keep being the best, you have to keep improving. And there's young players coming up who's watched you for years and know exactly how you play and what your strengths, what your weaknesses are. And it's all about, being a step ahead of everyone and trying to figure out what can I do to improve. And, I think that's one of the things. I was never scared of trying something new. I was never scared of being uncomfortable. And I really have also my dad to thank for that, because the hours he's put in to analyzing my game, analyzing other players, and the trust that also we had in each other, I think that really worked amazingly. And I trusted that when he told me that I needed to improve my volleys or to step closer into the baseline, even if I felt uncomfortable and felt like that wasn't, my game where I was feeling my best, I knew that when he told me that that's the next step and that's how I can really improve my game, I needed to do that. And yeah, of course it takes some time sometimes, and sometimes it works great in practice, but it doesn't work great in matches to start, so you go back to your old game. But eventually, step by step, you really start feeling comfortable and confident, and you start seeing the results.
That was my next question. You took the words right out of my mouth. Was you shared this whole journey with your dad, and he and other coaches had come and gone, but your dad remained at your side faithfully, the whole time. And it's probably one of the most, if not the most successful, parent slash coach relationship, because as you know, a lot of them don't go too well. What was the secret formula in that coaching relationship?
I think the secret formula that I don't think is that secret, but I really think the fact that we really respect each other and we really trust each other. I think that's the main thing. Of course, we would disagree about things sometimes, or, not be on the same page at times. But in the end of the day, we both went back, and I knew that he wanted the best for me, and he has been doing all this research to make me the best player that I could possibly be. And I knew also that he had no other intentions than for me to reach my full potential. And so for me, I just felt like I couldn't let him down, and I really needed to work hard too. So I would never want to show up to a practice and not be prepared, or not show up and really be 100%, because, my dad was traveling with me a lot, and he also gave up a lot to be there by my side. And so I think just being able to do that with a parent really makes it more special. And I think we have a very special bond, and I'm very lucky to have, both a cool dad, but also a cool mom, that both have been supporting me in all this journey. And I definitely would not have reached what I did without my dad by my side, because he knew when he could push me extra. He knew when he needed to back off. He knew that I could do it even when I didn't know for sure that I could. So I think that makes it special.
I want to talk about your husband, David Lee, also a former professional basketball player. Any advice or wisdom, because I know he traveled with you, that he gave you as a competitor?
I think David is just, a fun person to be around. And I think he really just brought this lighthearted energy to our team. And a lot of times I would just eat, in the room, or do things my way. And I, would go to the tennis courts and then come back to the hotel and not really do much more. And he was like, well, we need to come out and see some stuff while we're here. We need to go out and try and find some good restaurants, just to get your mind away from things and, just enjoy life. This is a great opportunity. We're out here traveling. We may as well, do a few fun things. And I think that really helped, just making me more relaxed and just enjoying it even more. And, he was a little crazy when he was playing and had his routines and had his certain ways to do things. But I think it's always easier to look from the outside and just come in and help with the little things. It could be, let's go out and eat instead of sitting inside all day, or it sounds silly, but it's so true, right? Like,
yeah, it is.
And I go, there's no reason to sit in here. Let's go out and explore the city. Let's go for a walk. And him and my dad would enjoy a drink at night, and, they would be in a great mood. And then the whole vibe of the whole team was just fun.
You always seemed during your career to embrace celebrity. You always seemed to have fun with it. And you're always very accessible to your fans, to the press. And that's why you made such a terrific ambassador for tennis. Do you have any thoughts on that? Was that easy for you?
I grew up in a very small country, and I had my first interview at the age of 9, I think. And then it just became more and more the better I started playing. And I think it became more of a natural thing for me. I didn't think too much about it. I wasn't all of a sudden just thrown out from nothing into a lot of media. And I think the fact that I had that kind of media training from a young child made it easier for me just to embrace the media. And I think I also learned along the way what maybe in the future I wanted to share and what I didn't, and how much. And I think you live and you learn. And I had fun with the media. I enjoyed being with the fans. I wish that I had more of an access to the players I looked up to when I was a child, so that I could know more about them. And I really wanted to give that to my fans as well, that they could get to know a different side of me and not just the tennis court Caroline. But we have fun lives. We do a lot of good things, and I wanted to share that.
Yeah, well, that's very special, because I know a lot of players are sort of in their tunnel vision, and they feel like it'll take away from their mental energy to always, be around their fans and have longer press conferences. So that was really refreshing. And another thing that was refreshing is that you were able to maintain real friendships on the tour, and a lot of women have not been able to do that with their competitors. I mean, you were in Serena's wedding, you're friends with Aga, Kerber. I mean, there's so many friends that you had on the tour. How were you able to maintain that?
I think that comes down also to family. I think my parents always taught me to have fun, enjoy life, be nice and polite to other people, and the way you are outside the court is much more important than your success and everything else on the court. And so they always just told me to be myself and have fun and enjoy. And I think that really helped also growing up in the juniors, the fact that we all knew each other and grew up together, and it was nice to have someone you knew that was going through the exact same thing as you were. And it always were on the court, it was all business and we all wanted to win, but off the court, let's just enjoy. We travel to the same tournaments the same weeks all the time, so let's do something that we can actually enjoy and we can look back on, and that is bigger than tennis and the tennis court and the match. And so yeah, I've had some incredible friendships that I hope that I'll keep having for the rest of my life. And Serena's amazing. I love her. And, she's such a fierce competitor, but she's such a great friend. And she really, is like a big sister to me. And it's really great that when you need someone, I know who to call, and she's like the best person to call. Aga just had a child, by the way, which is kind of incredible. And yeah, we have a great group of friends that we hang out with, and I think that's so important.
It's a very mature attitude. I mean, that's for sure. You retired after the Australian Open. I know that was an emotional time for you. Since your retirement, do you feel different, like waking up in the morning?
I feel great. I was a little scared that I was gonna, maybe miss the competitiveness or miss something about it. But at the end of the day, I think I made the choice and the decision at the right time for me. I was ready. I was ready to just be done and do something different. And I miss sometimes the fact that you burn a lot of calories on the court. I'm in the gym almost every day just to keep fit. But other than that, I think also the fact that with this time and, Wimbledon didn't happen, there's none of the other slams that have happened so far, so I don't feel like I've missed out on anything. And I'm such a competitor, and I, when I go to practice, I want to give 110%, and I just didn't feel like that anymore. So I feel great. I think for me it was very mental. I just was ready. I was tired of waking up every morning and having to practice for hours and hours. And I don't know, it felt like a lot. And, I think when you make the decision yourself though, and it's not a serious injury, but it's more about you choose to stop now, I think it makes it easier as well. And then it feels more right. I think the players that really struggle are the players in any sport, I think, that are forced to stop when they're not ready to yet.
So my next question to you is, what's next for you in your life?
I would love a bunch of kids. We're disagreeing a little bit on how many, because David always thought 2, I always wanted 4 or more. So right now I said, let's just see where we go, and we can go from there. But I think having a great big family, I think, would be so amazing, and it would be fun to, seeing your own blood and your DNA, running around and seeing them grow up and helping them on the right way, I think would definitely be very rewarding and special.
Yeah, I can see you. You'd be a great mom. I could see you with like 3 kids for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so lastly, this is the WTA year-end #1 trophy. It's so heavy, and you're going to get one of these. So I guess what I want to ask you is, what does it mean to you to be the year-end WTA #1 player for 2 years, by the way?
It means so much to me. I think it's so special to reach #1 in the first place, but to actually, be the year-end #1 and doing it twice in a row, it's really special. I'm amongst a very select few very strong and special women, so to be a part of that and a small part of the WTA history is very special to me. So I'm really proud and very happy, and that trophy is very beautiful. So
I know, isn't it? It's heavy. This is the world, and there's 1 diamond on it for there's only 1, there's not 2, because you won it twice. But and there's only 14 women who have been at the end of the year #1. So you're in a select few in a very special group. But I want to thank you, Caroline. I want to wish you luck, but I don't think you need any luck. I think you've found your life right now, and I appreciated your game, your style, your sportsmanship, and I think that when I say you're one of the most popular players of any era, I really mean it. And keep that smile going, and I hope to see you around the tennis.
Yeah.
It sounds like we will.
Yeah, you'll definitely see me around, and thank you so much, and thanks for being a great role model for someone like me as well, and for always being there if I ever had a question, and it's been really great to have you around, and hopefully I can be next to you doing some commentating or doing some TV, so that would be very special. And we'll definitely see you around very soon.
That would be fun. Thanks, Caroline. Caroline Wozniacki, everybody.